Afghan army uniforms turned their weapons on American forces. That happened in eastern Afghanistan. The shooting Wednesday took place in Kapisa province, just north of the capital, Kabul. The frequency of these insider attacks has declined markedly in recent months. North and South Korea have held their highest-level talks in 7 years, thus raising hopes for improved relations between the two countries. VOA's Daniel Scherf reports now from Seoul.
South Korea sent representatives from the Office of the President and Ministries of Unification and Defense. The North Korean officials were from the Workers' Party of Korea, the military, and the Committee for the Peaceful Reunification of Korea. North Korea is pushing for a resumption of nuclear talks involving the two Koreas, China, Japan, Russia, and the United States. But Washington, Seoul, and Tokyo want to see sincere gestures from Pyongyang before returning to negotiations. The high-level talks are also a week before rescheduled reunions of 180 families separated since the 1950s Korean War. The reunions, the first since 2010, were to take place last September, but North Korea postponed them, citing what it described as a hostile and arrogant attitude from South Korea. Daniel Scherf, VOA News, Seoul.
And at the Winter Olympics, Canadian ice hockey player Megan Augusta tallied 2 goals, as well as an assist to lift Canada to a 3-2 win over the United States. Top 3 teams in men's ice hockey, Canada, the U.S., and Russia, begin play on Thursday. Slovenia's Tina Mays and Switzerland's Dominique Gessen skied the downhill in just under 1 minute 42 seconds, marking the first time an Olympic gold was shared in alpine competition. Norway leading now the overall medal count with 12 so far, followed by Canada and the Netherlands with 10. United States and Russia have 9 each, and Germany has 8. Germany has the most gold medals with 6. Pioneering U.S. television comedian Sid Caesar, who set the standard for TV comedy in the early 1950s, has died at 91. The New York-born Caesar began his career as a saxophonist before moving into nightclubs and then onto the Broadway stage. He started his television career in 1949 when he partnered with the late comedian Imogen Coca. After TV, Caesar returned to Broadway and films and wrote candidly about his battles with alcoholism and drug abuse in a 1982.
Bring in, as promised, Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith.
There's been a spike in the desire to own guns in Connecticut. Statewide, over 90,000 guns have been authorized for sale. You know how I feel about it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Change had much to say, but man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town.
That's right, the boys are back in town. Our triumphant return at PatriotFB.com. I am your host, Jeff Norton, and you are listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. That's Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in town. Oh, my goodness. It never ends. All I've got to say, it is so nice. It is so nice to be back. It's so nice, trust me. It has been insane. I can tell you, I'd rather go through an operation than go through what we just went through. I should say we, because we all suffered when the site was down. I don't know about you. I missed you guys. I missed talking to you. I missed seeing the posts and everything. And I've always said, a wise man once told me, a real good friend of mine who's a rabbi, who said, you want to hear God laugh, tell him what your plans are. And that's exactly what has happened. And I apologize. I have to first come out and say I am terribly sorry. If I knew what I know now, I would have never have done it, right? No, we needed to make the change. It was something that we needed to do. And we took all the precautions, believe it or not, on our side. We stood up some new servers. And, for those that don't know, so we got maybe some new listeners out there, Patriot FB was down since Saturday. And what a mess. So we'll talk about that. I kind of tell you. And the reason why I want to share with you guys is I think, you are my board of directors. You are the board of directors of this great and noble ship. You're the crew. And like all good captains, I don't think it's my, I don't think it's good captainship or seamanship to keep my crew in the dark and everything. So we'll talk about that. I'll tell you what's going on, and maybe I can help you avoid the same mistakes. But trust me, we took every precaution that there was, and it just basically boiled down to our hosting provider deciding that we were too much for them. Believe it or not, we were way too much for them. They couldn't handle the issues, and let me kind of give you guys some of the backstory. Obviously, Patriot FB for about 3 weeks has been under solid attack. I'm talking solid attack. We're getting attacked from the normal hackers out there. We're getting attacked, I'm sure, from different agencies. You talk to Thomas, he'll tell you some of the things that's been going on with him, short of people breathing on the phone as we're talking. And this is not Alex Jones paranoia trying to sell you something. This is the honest God truth. I mean, I actually posted up a log file. We got our servers up and running, and no sooner than we started getting attacked again. And while our servers were down, we were seeing attacks coming in, but there was a black hole that they were all just kind of going into. And so we knew we needed to change, and we did, we engaged a top-notch security expert. I mean, this guy, his company is huge in this business, and like I said, it frustrated him. And one of the things that came out of the audit was our servers just didn't have enough horsepower to run the security software, and on top of that, serve up the website. And we knew it was going to be a problem. So we reached out to our service provider, Host Monster, which I've been doing business with them for 8 years. And I told them what was up. So we actually went out and purchased one of their top-of-the-line server packages that they have, in their server farm. We got everything staged, ready to cut over, and we were supposed to cut over Friday night. Well, there was an issue. They didn't have their tech support people there to support us, so we had to wait until Saturday. So when we cut over, one of their engineers decided we were going to get a new IP address, which meant now we had to wait until DNS propagates, which could take 4 to 6 hours. So, of course, we wait until DNS propagates. We get the server, and then all of a sudden the server starts puking all over itself. Can't handle anything. And, in the computer world, you really don't know what computers are going to do until you put them under load. And this thing just blew up. Couldn't handle it. So after about 3 or 4 reinstalls, they decided they were going to build us a new server. Now we're into Sunday. Well, lo and behold, the guy Sunday morning, he gave me a new IP address. I don't know why. Don't know why that happened. Don't know, and it's a simple fix, but apparently the guy that set it up isn't the same guy that took care of it. So now we had to wait another 4 hours. So we get our new server up and running. We get it under load. Pukes all over itself. Just dies. And this is about 1 o'clock. So they were like, take us 2 hours. We're going to rebuild the server, and we'll see how it goes. So, Jeff will call you. So 1 o'clock goes by, 2, 3, 4. It's about 9 o'clock at night. So I reach out to him, and I'm saying, where's my server? we got to get this thing up and running. And they're like, oh, we forgot about it. Hello? They forgot it. Well, our technicians had other things going on. It's like, really? So I sat on the phone with them as they rebuilt the server. Right in the middle of the guy rebuilding the server, at about 2:30 in the morning, he goes, well, I got to go home. And I won't be able to get to it until tomorrow. And I understand, people have lives and everything like that, but it wasn't even an option of handing it off. I've got the whole transcripts. I got to show you guys these, because we're talking to each other, chat. And he's like, well, I have to, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow. And I'm like, you can't do this to me. On Monday morning, we have shows that are starting up. And so I was talking to a friend. I actually was chatting at the same time. I had another buddy who was up. And we were chatting back and forth. It was a security guy, my security guy, asking me where we were at with it. He was up, I was up, and I told him, and he said, look, he said, you can drop the service from these guys, spin up a new service Monday morning, and have it up and running by Tuesday. And not even worry with them, and with better servers. So we decided to go. I had to make an executive decision. As a captain of the ship, sometimes the winds aren't in our favor, so we have to kind of jive and hoe here and there, and to get into the wind, get our vessel pointed in the right direction. So we made that decision to do that. So of course when we switched over, IP numbers changed, so we had to wait 4 more hours. Then we had to get the servers stood up, and working with our new hosting company, they've been outstanding. They got everything running, for us at spec. We told them what we wanted. And they built it exactly the way we wanted it. Didn't tell us, nope. They built it exactly the way we wanted it. So we got it all done and got it all up and running. And then got all of our security software in there, did our audits and everything that we needed to do before we loaded any software. Got everything up and running. Move our site over, get that spun up. Doesn't work. Blank page. So we're trying to figure it out. The name is the same, so we, no licensing issue, nothing. Well, what ended up happening is apparently there is a licensing issue. They have it embedded, and the way the license is set up is by the IP when we installed it. So then now we had to wait for the company that originally wrote the software to get back to us, and of course they're overseas. So needless to say, today is Wednesday. And the site is back. But we're here. We're live. We're serving. One of the things that I have to tell you, this machine, though, that we're running actually on a cloud now. Yeah, that's right. We're you guys want to, we're no longer in that old rickety sailboat. We're on a freaking, we're still on a sailboat. I'm never going to get on a burner. But, we're no longer on that rickety sailboat. We're on a state-of-the-art boat bringing you this message. And, the specs of these servers are incredible. And I tested them briefly today with a load, and we were turning them off, turning them back on, trying to get the redundancy working. But, these servers on the cloud, 16 cores. These things got 16 cores in them. 64 megs of RAM. 64 meg. Of RAM. 64 gigs. Right. The hard drive. It's just, the hard drives are solid state. What does that mean? They're solid. They're not spinning hard drives. They're actually memory. But when we get back from the break here, I'm going to, give you guys a little bit more of the lowdown. But you're listening to Jeff Norton, the Midnight Patriot Radio Show.
Join us at www.patriotfb.com, a social network for patriots. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for president. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
That's the Outlaws, cold and lonesome feeling. No, it's been an adventure, though. I will tell you. And the really nice thing is that the server farm, where our servers are located, is literally about 5 hours away from me. So I actually spent checking the place out. It is cool. I mean, I'll tell you, all American support, like Host Monster. But these guys are just so much more geared towards the professional website. Some of their clientele, obviously they don't want you discussing it, but they have some high-end guys, high-end companies are hosting with them. But yeah, we're on the cloud. We've stepped up. We've evolved. we're out of the Stone Ages. We're out of our little pet 86s, and now into some real computers. But yeah, these things are just beasts of machine. And we were running them today without Cloudflare. We were just running them, straight up. And these things were super fast. I mean, they were serving the pages quicker than, and you click on the button and the page was there. Now, of course, we introduced Cloudflare, which is going to slow it back down a little bit. But, the advantages of Cloudflare is it kind of distributes our load across the network. Now, you got to understand, we're not going to stop there. We're still, I believe in the mission that we do here, and I believe in what we're doing here, that I'm not going to give up. Now, a lot of you people, a lot of listeners, you guys don't know me. A lot of you guys do know. I'm not a quitter. It ain't gonna happen. My friend, my friends will tell you that when I sink my teeth into something, I go gangbusters with it, and I'm not gonna quit. And whatever the circumstances are. So for those out there who want to do us and this movement harm, you're just wasting your time. You need to go spend it somewhere else. You do, no matter what you do, we're going to come back. We're going to come back stronger. I've said this time and time again. And, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this mission accomplished. That's my commitment to you. That's my commitment to not only our listeners, but also those that join Patriot FB. We will do whatever it takes to keep on mission, keep on task. And so we've got right now on our farm, on our cloud, we have two servers. One is our primary server, and the other one is our database server. We are actually spinning up 4 more servers with a new operating system, a different type of system that's geared more towards efficiency. So we're working on those. But these things you guys won't even see anymore, because the way that this system is designed and the way it's architected, it's designed with failover. And what does that mean? Because it is on the cloud, if we do lose our server, it will start another node on the cloud instantly. And then it's just a matter of your browser reconnecting. And that's it. I mean, that's what's really cool about this system. And not only does it not have the horsepower, but we're going to be, like I said, we've got 4 more servers in the queue. I couldn't wait to get the site back online any longer, so I went ahead and relaunched it. But we are spinning up 4 more dedicated servers using a different type of browsing instead of using Apache. And I know this is a lot technical for you guys, but instead of using Apache, we're going to be using NextX. So it's a lighter weight, more efficient, more clustering. So we are going to that. And I got to thank Sean over there at Tea Party Conservative or Connection, Tea Party Connection, for making that recommendation to us. Thank you, Sean. We're going to be doing that. But like I said, it will be a seamless integration because we're still going to keep these servers running. We're just going to start adding servers to the cloud. And just keep. And what's really nice about this is that if we want to, if we need more capacity, we just add another server right to the cloud, and it's incredible. I'm like I said, these things are just beasts of machines. I'm thinking about using one as a Quake server. as a gaming server. But I don't think Sandy would appreciate that, Bill. Maybe I can work it in. So, but that's where we're at. And I felt that we needed to tell you that because, like I said, you guys are the crew on this ship. We're we're doing this together. This is not a Jeff Norton venture. This is not a JJ venture. This is us. This is Patriots. We're just kind of leading the way and hoping you guys kind of fall in line with us and kind of push this movement forward. So enough of that. Hopefully, things will calm down. I was looking at taking a break. Not. I know a couple of people said, why don't you take the rest of the week off? You've been working, ungodly hours. And I can't do that. I felt bad. The only reason why I wasn't on the air is because you guys had no way of hearing me with everything down and plus, working on the server. So, but I'm back now, back in the saddle, and, we're going to gear it up. I don't know how tonight's going to go. This is kind of not like riding a bike. When you don't do it and you take such a long hacienda, little furlough there, it kind of is rough getting back into the swing of things. So we'll just kind of see how things go, play it by ear. If you'd like to join in the conversation, give us a call, 1-800-580-4870. That's 1-800-580-4870. Love to hear from you. It's open lines tonight. We're just going to be talking about topics. Don't think for a minute I wasn't watching the news. Don't think for the minute I wasn't. I was still doing my posts. I was posting out there all these naysayers. I don't know if you guys watch the Olympics, have been watching the Olympics. I'm not a big endorser or fan of sports. Now, I will tell you, there are two sports that I truly love. Three, maybe. But one is you drive fast, turn left. The other one is if you got the little black puck, you're going to get hit. And I don't know. I just like sports that have a lot of collision in them. I really do. And so I'm happy to report that NASCAR is going to be coming back to the airwaves, and to the chagrin of my family. But NASCAR is coming back. I can't wait for that. And so, NASCAR is one of those sports, though. You ever notice if you want to make more money, you got to win. There is no renegotiating contracts. There is no strike. You want to, you want to make money, you got to win. And if you get lippy with someone, you're going to get taken out at about 150 to 200 miles an hour. That's okay. It's all part of the sport. That's how they roll. That's how NASCAR rolls. They don't pay losers. You talk about a drug policy. You don't have NASCAR drivers smoking pot because it's okay, or on the sidelines doing that. It's a sport. It's a sport for real men. Instead of the National Felon League. That's right, I said it. I did. I don't know how many felons are in NASCAR. I don't know. I'd venture to say probably 0. And if they are felons, it probably had something to do with moonshining or driving fast. So NASCAR's coming back. We'll be talking about that. But, getting on the sports. I did have the opportunity to kind of watch the Olympics. I hope you guys did too. I did some postings on some of the naysayers out there that were bashing the Olympics and making fun of them. And, I just want to say I'm thoroughly enjoying the Olympics this year. I'm watching it. I spent down to actually watch figure skating. That's right. Put my man card away, tear it up. No, I watched figure skating. It was pretty cool. It's crazy. The way that you guys, let me kind of explain to you how you watch figure skating. Number one, you do it with your wife because you got to get chick points. You got to get points for it, right? That accounts for, that way you don't have to go watch the movie for Valentine's Day. Those are your points if you watch figure skating with your wife. That's the first thing. The second thing is this. Have you seen those skates, the blades on those skates? Those things are like super sharp. I'm talking they are razor blade sharp. So there is a potentiality for a really disastrous mess. I'm sorry, that's the NASCAR in me. You watch it for the wrecks. So I was watching the figure skating, and I'm watching these guys flinging these blades over these girls' heads and, across there. And I'm like, it's only a matter of time. Remember the hockey? I don't know if you guys, another one of my beloved sports, hockey. There was a hockey player that literally, almost died. He got his throat cut. And if it wasn't for a trainer who packed his throat right there on the ice, he would have been dead. I mean, you don't realize. So I know it's sick. It's twisted. But when I was watching these figure skaters, I was thinking, oh my God, those guys are pulling like 9 to 12 G's, twisting around like that with these knives, with Ginsus. I mean, that's better than any Las Vegas show ever. And so that's how I was able to bear through it. I was like, whoa, hey, I was getting excited because they were getting close. They were getting real close. But, I watch figure skating. Watch a lot of the other sports. My favorite one, two-man bobsled. Got to watch that. I'm a speed. I like speed. But more importantly, I'm watching it to support the athletes, to support Russia and their efforts and the great people of Russia and Sochi. I am. I'm flat out. And when I have the opportunity to watch the Olympics, and then more importantly, when I have an opportunity to comment, go out to some of these naysayer sites that are out there where they're criticizing or saying, jokes, kind of correct it. Because, when we start making it about the sport and stop making it about gays and all of the political crap that's going on, that's when it becomes about the sport. And I know a lot of you, we were talking, and when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. I mean, our media, we ought to be ashamed. We ought to be embarrassed for ourselves and the media that's out there representing us. It's just incredible. Did you see the commentator who dressed up? When we get back from the break, we'll talk about that. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. Join us on the web at www.patriotfb.com.
Thousands of fellow patriots with Patriot FB Radio. Email advertise at patriotfb.com for more details. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us," and really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Resources are available for military families. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
My friends, they all told me, man, there's something gonna change your life. My friends, they all told me, man, there's something gonna change your life. Gotta have that brown sugar, man, it's just gonna change my life.
got to have the brown sugar. Man, it's just gonna make me feel so right.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join me live here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.patriotfb.com. That is www.patriotfb.com. So getting back to the Olympics, before we had to pay some bills there. We got a lot. So getting back to the Olympics. Whoa. Now see, people, you guys got to stop me. You got to take hold. You got to shake me. You got to say, Jeff, what's wrong with you? Let's get back to the order of business here. I think we got a little order of business that we need to do first before we get into the conversation a little bit more tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
What do those words mean to you? To me, they say, thank you, America, for your strength, your courage, and for our freedom, which has been a beacon to the world for 200 years.
Of the United States of America.
Whose bright stars are 50 states, each bearing its own stamp of individuality. People, 200 million strong. People who have come to her from all corners of the earth.
And to the republic for which it stands.
A land of laws with an ingenious system of checks and balances that allows no man to become a tyrant and lets no group prevail if their power is not tempered with a real concern for the governed. A land where the right of dissent and free speech is jealously guarded, where the ballot box is the sword and the people its wielder.
One nation under God.
A land where freedom of worship is a cornerstone of her being. A land graced with temples and churches, synagogues and altars that rise in profusion to embrace all the religions of the world.
Indivisible.
A land forged by the hot steel and raw courage, and formed forever by the awful crucible of civil war.
With liberty.
Where man in pursuit of an honest life will not be denied his chance. Where her citizens move freely within her vast borders without hindrance or fear. A land brimming with opportunity, where freedom of choice is the guideline for all.
And justice.
The courts of our land are open to all. Its wheels of justice grind for all causes, all people. They look to every avenue for justice, every concern of the law, and they temper their reasoning with mercy for all.
There you go. Now, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, state your name, Jeffrey W. Norton, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the organic Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office in which I am about to enter, so help me God. Now we can start the show. Now, so disregard everything I said before. So, Joe, don't feel so bad. You didn't miss out on anything. We're just starting the show. See what happens when you're away? It's not like riding a bicycle. Not at all. Now, I will tell you, I have my coffee. So at least I got one thing right. I got my markers here, ready to go, ready to write through. But if you'd like to join in the conversation, give us a call, 1-800-580-4870. That's 1-800-580-4870. I'd love to hear from you. I missed you guys. I really did. So if you guys would like to give us a call, feel free to jump right on in. The lines are open and ready for you to use. But getting back to the Olympics, you know, and this is exactly, I had this conversation with a family member today, and we were talking about this. You know, I'm a libertarian. I am. I'm a libertarian. Who you sleep with is your business. If who am I to say who you can sleep with? I don't care. I don't care. I mean, we have laws. There's laws in which there's sick and disgusting behavior. But if you are of age, if you are an adult of age, and you can freely make up your mind, and you have a willing participant who is an adult of age, and they can freely make up their mind, they're not of mental defect, and I guess that's the key word. I don't care. And I know a lot of you guys have your opinions, and your opinions are based in your religion beliefs, and the fact that you're just disgusted by it. But I understand that. I get that, and I'm not criticizing you because you have that belief as well. You can believe what you want to believe. I can respect and honor that. And naturally, if your beliefs and my beliefs kind of coexist, are the same, we're going to kind of go together on that one, right? But, truthfully, you can't call yourself a libertarian if you are wanting to deny rights, to individuals, adults, for their decisions and those types of decisions, to be honest with you. You can't. You can't call yourself a true libertarian. Because libertarian, we believe in the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't address that. That's that's a personal belief, not a legal thing. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat, but bear with me here because I want to explain this to you a little bit more. And I think this is the approach. And more importantly, you shouldn't let it ruffle your feathers. That's right, I said it. I couldn't resist. Because that's exactly what they want you to do. See, when our economy is in the crapper, there's a lot of jokes here, a lot of innuendo if you guys read between the lines. But if our economy is where it's at, and our government is taking over and doing all of these things, naturally, they don't want us to focus on them. Think about the commentary. I mean, you got millions and millions of Americans watching the Olympics right now. That's a prime opportunity for them to push an agenda, correct? That is a prime opportunity for them to move not only an agenda, but to move a policy along. And look at the policy that they're moving, though. Gay rights, the threat of terrorism. That's what they're selling us. The inadequacies of the Russian, people. That's what they're selling us. And the reality of it is that, we're broke. We're going to talk about that. We're going further in debt as of today, with the Republican passing of the bill, the funding bill. But no, they don't want us to focus on that. Instead, they want us to focus on gay rights and all of these things. You got to understand that, and that's why I'm not going to get into it. And that's why you shouldn't either. You shouldn't fall in it because they're distracting you. You are like that cat with the little laser pointer, and unfortunately, the government's holding the laser pointer. And if you fall into the crap, you're no different than that cat. Seriously. That's why I'm not falling into it. And that's why you shouldn't either. Now, there is a legitimate, and don't think that we don't have a legitimate complaint. I have a legitimate complaint that I don't think the education system should be used to teach gay rights and gay marriage and all that, because I don't think the education system should be used to teach heterosexual rights or heterosexual marriage. The purpose of school, and I think that our government, they've been doing this curriculum for such a long time, and look how well it's working. We used to be the envy of the modern world with our education system. Now we're laughingstock. Our kids come out of school, and I hate to say this, but our kids come out of school pretty dumb. I mean, if you take the average child or average high school graduate and you try to have a conversation with them, the ones that you see on TV are the exceptional ones. Out of the millions and millions of kids that graduate every year, if you notice, there's only a handful, just a few, that you can actually carry on an intelligent conversation with. See, the schools are no longer about teaching the children. The schools are all about getting money. That's their sole purpose. And then normalizing or standardizing, and so that they don't see. Think about this. I want to break this down for you. Why do we have normalized tests? Why? What's the purpose of a normalized test? Just throwing this out there. Yeah. No, the reason why we have normalized tests is because we want normalized children. No, we don't want. The government wants. See, the problem is that with the exceptionalism, remember you heard Russian, Putin, President Putin talking about American exceptionalism. See, the government doesn't want exceptionalism, because when you have exceptionalism, you have thinkers. And when you have thinkers, people that think, that throws a monkey wrench in the design and the program of the New World Order. Because people that tend to think, and I know you guys are thinkers, but come out of your world and kind of understand the other 90% of the world out there who just muddle through, who just do what, I got to do it, got to do this, got to do that. But their critical thinking skills. I mean, you guys work with them every day. You see them. I got my Q45 report. I got to get it done today. Don't touch my stapler. It's 11:30. I got to go. I'm on break. Got to go. It's my break time. Don't care what needs to get done. Don't care if the job needs to get done or not. I got to go. That's what normalization gets you. See, and that's what the government wants. See, we're doing it to ourselves. And we're allowing them to do it to us. So when you feed into, when I hear people on the air and other shows, and I listen to a lot of other shows, and I hear them talking about, the gay right, all this stuff. I'm saying you just fed into it. That is 15 minutes. Think about it. I just took 15 minutes explaining this to you. And that's 15 minutes that I could have been talking about this administration and their lavish parties and the king and queen of the United States of America. And I could have taken that 15 minutes and been discussing with you about the fact that our illustrious king and queen, and that's what they are. I mean, think about it. Had a fundraiser, or call it what it is. It's a fundraiser. There were donors there. Now, granted, they didn't pull out their checkbooks. Excuse me. As I choke. Oh my gosh, coffee went down wrong throat. They didn't pull out their checkbooks, I mean, because that would have been too obvious. But there were donors there. I mean, that's the only way you get to a state dinner these days. Or actually to an ambassador. You know, I was thinking, I want to be the ambassador to Iran. I'll do it. I'll go to Iraq. I'll be the ambassador to Iran. I can set U.S. policy, right? My policy is that, hey, Iran, we're going to leave you the hell alone, but if you do attack us, we're going to wipe you off the face of the earth. But other than that, we're not going to put any troops in your borders. We're not going to put any troops in your soil. We're not going to do anything. What we're going to do to you, we don't even have to leave our country. But hey, we'll just all get along, okay? There you go. Diplomatic, it's over with. The rest of the 4 years or whatever I'm there, I can kind of enjoy the weather and kind of see the sights. But no, seriously. This administration, had a fundraiser this weekend, and the king and queen in her magnificent gown of $12,000. Now, a lot of you guys are saying, well, taxpayers aren't paying for it. They paid for that, but we paid their salary. So whatever they spend their money on, I mean, that's their business. But the gala, don't kid yourself. That was a fundraising event. The people that were invited were, obviously diplomats, but the other people that were invited were donors to the DNC. If the president wants to have a ball like that, then he needs to, rent the Ramada Inn and do it there. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot. We'll get back. We'll be talking about Michelle Obama.
Join us at www.patriotfb.com, a social network for patriots. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for president. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. It doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net or call 866-966-1020.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host. You are in the right place. If you're listening to us live on Spreaker and also at patriotfb.com, that is www.patriotfb.com. PatriotFB.com, our relaunch site and our new servers. Now, I'll tell you, one of the things I have noticed is that Spreaker's been cutting out lately. So if you are getting this live feed and it is cutting out, you can always switch over. If you go to the schedule right there and you go to Jeff Norton, that's another feed. That's actually a completely different feed on a different network. So you can give that one a shout. We do have a backup feed server as well that we're going to do. I mean, one of the things I'm learning when you're in this business, you better have redundancy. You better have backups to backups to backups to backups, because you need them. You need them. One of the things, we're talking about the cutover and stuff. Go out there. I posted up there. No sooner than we were online, we had like 5-6 attacks, like boom, 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 boom. Our system, of course, just shucked them off. Go away with your bad self. So talk about going away with your bad self. Did you see our queen? How radiant she looked? How elegant? That's so inappropriate on the heels of the last conversation. But no, seriously, $12,000 dress. $12,000 dress. You know that is more than the median income of most people in the world. I was listening to Coast to Coast, late at night while I had time, instead of, doing a show. Yeah, that's right. I was lollygagging. But I was listening to Coast, and I was listening to one of the shows, and they were talking about the decline of America and how we're viewed by the rest of the world. And it's just amazing. You got a brother or a cousin, a relative, who is up their eyeballs in debt. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm broke. I don't have a problem. But yet they're living, in days gone by, but they're living, they're flying around. You ever have a relative like that? That they're 3-4 months behind in their mortgage, their car's ready to get repossessed, their, everything, or an associate or a friend, that's how this government is. Our government is out there throwing galas and parties. And our queen is buying $12,000 dresses. Handmade. Why the rest, the median income of the rest of the world, and that's the median income. You got to remember, in the United States, we're very fortunate. Even our poor people get paid 10 times more than the poorest person in the world. Even more so. I mean, the number is astronomical. There are people who actually work for 5 to 10 cents a day in the world economy. Yes. Abject poverty. That go days, if not weeks, without food. So I don't want to hear, the poor inner city people. I don't want to hear it, because the inner city people are a lot better off than most. So our queen, in good fashion, came out and wearing a $12,000 dress for an evening, one night. $12,000 for one night. She can wear the dress. You'll never see it again. You'll never see it again. You'll never, unless it's put in their library. But $12,000. And you wonder why the rest of the world hates us. You wonder why the rest of the world can't wait for our demise. And, and let's face it, our military, as great as they are, the men and women of our United States military are outstanding. Hearts and prayers go out to them and their families. But let's just face it. Our military in today is being used to protect and to secure more profits for the corporations and for the 96. That report came out. 96 individuals actually control. 96 individuals in the world actually control 98% of the world's assets. And those guys are scared to death. Like I said, I was listening to Coast to Coast. I was listening to a professor talking about this, and he actually broke it down. It was incredible, the numbers. But let me repeat that to you again. There's about 96 people in the world right now who control or manage or have control over 98% of the world assets of the economies. And those people are scared to death because they know their heads are going to be on a chopping block when it turns. They know that. That's why they are in control of our military. Eisenhower warned us of this, of the military-industrial complex. He warned us of this. He saw this as president as he was leaving, walking out the door, was basically telling everybody, look, people, I'm the president. I've seen this stuff firsthand. I just want to let you know it's coming. That train, it's a coming. When we get back from the break, talk about that a little bit more.
From Washington, this is VOA News. Another village attack in northern Nigeria leaves dozens dead. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon decries the use of cluster bombs in South Sudan. I'm Victor Beatty reporting from Washington. Suspected Boko Haram extremists attacked a town in northeast Nigeria, killing nearly 40 people and burning down hundreds of homes. VOA's House of Service reports dozens of gunmen disguised as soldiers attacked the town of Konduga in Borno State late Tuesday. The state governor who visited Konduga Wednesday told reporters up to 70% of the town was destroyed. Although there has been no immediate claim of responsibility, Boko Haram has carried out similar large-scale attacks in the north in the past and is blamed for thousands of deaths since 2009. Human rights groups say a wave of ethnic cleansing has taken hold in Central African Republic, where Muslims are fleeing their homes and neighborhoods to escape attacks by Christian militia. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch both issued calls Tuesday for French and African peacekeepers in CAR to protect Muslims from further attack. Human Rights Watch Emergencies Director Peter Booker just returned from a 3-week stay in CAR, told VOA the attacks against Muslims began in September and appear to be coordinated.
In the northern capital, regional capital of Bosangoa, on one day on September 5th, there were 5 different attacks on major trading towns located dozens of miles apart, which killed hundreds of Muslims and Pearl nomads, which are also Muslims, in a single day. So we're talking about militarily coordinated attacks, a clear strategy to try to terrorize the Muslim community and to drive them out of the country to never return.
Rights groups say the violence was triggered by a wave of killing and looting in Christian villages by mostly Muslim Salika rebels who toppled President Francois Bozizé nearly a year ago. Amnesty says peacekeepers have been slow to protect Muslims as the Salika retreat and reluctant to challenge the anti-Balaka militia that have taken over several towns. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, was in Bangui Wednesday and said the big need is to find a way back to the great characteristic of Central Africa, namely tolerance through dialogue and mediation. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has warned the sectarian violence is changing the country's demography, putting the country at risk of division. Mass emergency vaccination campaigns are underway in Guinea to control a spreading outbreak of measles. The World Health Organization warns measles is one of the most highly contagious diseases and a leading cause of death among children. Jennifer Lazuta reports from Dakar.
The head of UNICEF's health program in Guinea, Dr. Salvatore Nibitanga, spoke to VOA from the capital, Conakry.
In the whole country, we have 1,590 cases Among them, unfortunately, 6 deaths have been recorded.
The last outbreak of measles in Guinea in 2009 affected more than 4,000 children and caused 10 deaths. Most cases of measles are curable, but health experts say immunization is the best way to keep the death toll down. WHO reports that vaccinations reduced the number of measles deaths globally by nearly 80% between 2000 and 2012. But in Guinea, Doctors Without Borders says that less than 80% of children living in Conakry have received routine vaccinations that include protection against measles. And nationwide, only 37% of children have received the specific anti-measles vaccine. The vaccination campaigns will continue free of charge for at least 2 weeks. Jennifer Lazuda for VOA News, Dakar.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has condemned the use of cluster bombs in the fighting in South Sudan. Remnants of the weapon found last week by UN demining workers on a road from the capital Juba to Bor, the capital of Jonglei State. Mr. Ban also welcomed resumption of talks in Ethiopia aimed at ending the 2-month conflict. Speaking Wednesday in London, South Sudan's Foreign Minister, Mario Benjamin.
I can assure you that the government of the Republic of South Sudan is absolutely committed to the negotiation process going ahead, because we have already signed the cessation of hostilities and the status of the detainees. Definitely, they should have started yesterday evening. That is opening of the talks.
Mr. Benjamin denied rebel claims government forces have violated the January ceasefire, insisting the rebels have in fact done so, although suggesting that was not in the direction of at the direction of the rebel leadership. And he ruled out a demand by rebels that Ugandan forces in South Sudan helping Juba withdraw. I'm Victor Beattie, VOA News. More can be found at our internet website. That address, once again, voanews.com.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host. Thank you for joining us here in the second hour. Hour number 2, it's flying. It's going by quick. So, yeah, there's a website I want you guys to go out to. And like I said, I finally found it. It was a long break, but I wanted to pull this website for you. It's called Project Censored, projectcensored.org. And it is actually the research project of Dr. Carl Jensen. Teaches at Sonoma State University in the media research, and he focuses on. He has an actual. It's incredible. He actually has a class that you can take on conspiracies and conspiracy theory. And so, I was listening to him with George Knapp there at Coast to Coast, and it was incredible. And he was talking, they did the research, and they talked about how these individuals, these 96, 98 individuals, there's about 100 or so total, but there's about 96 to 98 that control about 98% of the world's economic wealth. That's incredible. Now, if you want, they also broke it down and gave the numbers. And they put out a yearly book, basically of all the conspiracies that the government doesn't want you to know about. And this is part of his class, part of his research. You can actually, at Sonoma State University, can go and take this course. And part of this course is you're going to be talking about conspiracies, 9/11, John F. Kennedy. And then also you're required, as part of the course, is to research and help compile that year's book of conspiracies. I'm going to get him on as a guest. I will have him on as a guest. And we're going to talk about this. But one of the things that he brought up, and it's so true when you sit down and think about it, think about how our men and women of the military, think about how our military is being used right now. Right now, this instant. What freedoms are they truly protecting? Are you telling me that our men and women of the military can't control some tribal bands? No. They would pound them into dust. No. What are they doing? They're over there protecting the oil fields. They're over there protecting the lithium deposits. They're over there protecting the opium fields. Do you know that opium production has actually increased under the watchful eyes of the United States military and this government? Just last week we I didn't want to say mourned. I didn't mourn his death, especially a death that you take because of your station in life. But Hoffman, found him dead, heroin injection in his bathroom like the junkie that he is. Let's just be truthful. I mean, you shouldn't talk ill will about that. I got you. But let's not color-code it either. This is a man who for all practical purposes had every opportunity to clean himself. He had more of an opportunity than that person right now sitting in a 12-step AA program. Right? But yet he didn't take it, so we're supposed to mourn for him? Oh, because of a beloved actor? Like I said, I'm not crazy. I mean, we have lost a life. That's not the point here. So before you start, sending me hate mail, get my point. He made that decision as a conscious adult. It's the same decision that one makes to be homosexual or not, correct? Is it not? Do we not make a choice? Now, I know a lot of people out there will say, well, there's a gene. There is no gene. There's no science. There's no gene. You're more likely to convince me that there's global warming as the Great Lakes freeze over than you are to convince me that there is a gay gene. Now, there might be a gene of choice, a gene that allows you as a human being to make a decision to be one way or the other, or to choose that your life is easier being one way or the other. And a lot of people say, well, it's not easy being gay. I don't know. But, you choose to do the things you do. You choose to go to work or you choose not to. You choose to get in the car or take the subway. You choose to get on an airplane or take a bus or ride a train. You choose those. So you fault. You fault people for your choice. That's, you choose. But I don't want to digress back into that topic. But we're talking about the opium fields and how they have profited immensely by the protection of the United States government. It's amazing that the government can knock a gnat at 30,000 feet with a missile, right? But they can't destroy an opium poppy field. It's amazing. The reason why they don't destroy it is because they choose not to. And they give you any excuse in the world. But the reason why they don't destroy it is because they choose not to. And the reason why they choose not to is because I will tell you, I am sure we can get a bunch of soldiers who would love to napalm and torch poppy field. I'm positive we can find a few good men and women that would do that. I am sure that we can find a few fighter pilots that would like to drop some cluster bombs and just wipe it out, right? I'm sure, positive, without a doubt. Please step forward for this mission. But the order from a high is leave them alone. The order from above them is leave it alone. The order from the donors is leave it alone. See, I'm a firm believer behind every successful drug dealer, there is a prominent banker, there's a prominent lawyer, probably judge, there's probably some prominent police officers, law enforcement. See, this doesn't all, they want us to believe that this all happens in a nebula, in its own little cloud, its own little world, and we're all unaware. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that the Taliban is going to come into your house in the middle of the night and kill you, keep you in fear. As they use that to, see, we got to have the MRADs, we got to have the tanks, we got to have the drones, the civilian drones. We got to have that because the Taliban are right there in Sioux City, Iowa. Kansas, Missouri. Got the Taliban right there. By the way, as we invite them to the White House. Or, have dinner with them. Or have them at the Pentagon, or, have our secret deals. Or give them, hey, as we, during the day meetings, Ambassador Stevens, here's a few $1 million worth of arms. Give it to the rebels, Al-Qaeda. And in the evening, they're going to kill you. That's their way of showing you gratitude. That's just the way it is. Think about it. It's sad. But they want to keep us in fear. They want to keep us off our toes, on our heels. And that's what they do. But so as I listened to this interview, it was just incredible in the fact that, that he laid it all out. You have the very wealthy that control almost all the money who are scared to death. And because they're scared to death, they're militarizing our police. They are destroying anybody that speaks out against them publicly, professionally. It's only a matter of time, people. Sean was making a comment today that he's thinking they're going to take a fund to bail me out of jail. It's only a matter of time. I was talking to my attorney, who's telling me that, it's only a matter of time, Jeff. It's only a matter of time. But hey, I knew I'm a big boy. I know what I'm getting myself into. Don't think for a minute that I didn't think about this prior to doing it. This is not a whim. But when we get back from the break here, we will cover some of the news. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Join us right here at www.patriotfb.com.
Advertise to thousands of fellow patriots with Patriot FB Radio. Email advertise@patriotfb.com for more details. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331. Get involved. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. Join me right here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.patriotfb.com. That's www.patriotfb.com. You know, let's jump right into the news. Now, this is something that just broke. And this tells you, how our governments, where their heads at. You know, and it's amazing. Holder, state laws that bar felons from voting are too unjust to tolerate. That's exactly. Now, you know, I'm going to break this down for you. So this comes out of CNS News. 3 days after announcing the United States Justice Department will recognize same-sex marriages in all legal matters, even in states that forbid it, Attorney General Eric Holder took a swipe at states that don't allow felons to vote. In many states, felon disenfranchisement laws are still on the books, and the current scope of these policies is not only to significantly to ignore, it is also to add unjust to tolerate. Holder told Criminal Justice Forum and Georgetown University Law Center. Oh, there you go. All right, fine. It's unjust. It's unjust that a state has laws on the books that forbid felons from voting. It's unjust. I agree. Eric Holder, I agree with you 100%. I think felons should have the right to vote. I don't think a state should be allowed to have a law that goes against the Constitution of the United States. I don't think so at all, Eric. I agree with you. I'm with you. Mr. Holder, you're forgetting one thing in here. Why are you stopping there at the right to vote? Why don't you allow them to have the right to carry a firearm? That's right. As we were so kindly corrected by our longtime friend Joe, Patriot FB. Last week, as I was talking with Matt, a caller who calls in the show on a regular basis, and we were talking about your Second Amendment rights and how the Constitution forbids you as a felon to own or possess a firearm and also forbids you to vote. I made that statement. Oh, do I have so much to learn. The Constitution has no verbiage such as that, as Joe pointed out. The right to vote, as our illustrious Attorney General just stated, is a right, or that your right not to vote is a right that's taken away from you by the state in which you live in. But Eric Holder saying that the state shouldn't have the right to supersede the Constitution of the United States. The same right that forbids a felon from voting is the same laws that forbid a felon from owning a handgun or a firearm in the state. But of course you didn't hear Eric Holder say that. No, they want the votes. That's why he's doing it. He's not doing it based on legal precedent. He's doing it on the fact that they want the votes. And they're not going to get the votes on the immigration bill. It's not coming. Well, it probably is. They're going to kowtow to that too. But, so they're scrambling. They're scrambling. And look, and let's face it, Eric Holder is a racist. He is. He is a racist. Listen to his speech. Listen to him prior to becoming Attorney General. He is a racist. And, he views that the white man has unjustly persecuted individuals in this country. He's viewed that. He believes that. Listen to his speech. Listen to what he said prior to. I so hardly believe that. So naturally, he believes that the fact, and I agree with him, by the way, that the anti-gun laws in the states are directed solely at the minority. I agree. Under the Dix case, when the slave, I've argued this all along. History has shown this. That gun laws at the state level has nothing to do with protecting the citizenry. It has everything from keeping the guns out of the hands of the African Americans and the minorities. There was legislation when the gun laws were enacted in most of the states. That was the argument. Go back and read it. The laws that you live under now have been twisted and manipulated and camouflaged in such a way that you don't really realize. I go to my friends, in the great state of Illinois, and I listen to them talk about, the gun law, the gun law. I was like, do you know that your House, your Congress, when they passed the gun laws, were not passing them because of the reasons you think? They weren't. They were passing them to protect society from black people with guns. Let's just come out and say it. So if you support those gun laws, in de facto, you are supporting racism. So I agree with you, Eric Holder. These laws are that these states have that violate a person's constitutional God-given right ought to be wiped clean. But but you didn't take it far enough. You didn't take it far enough. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be sitting there going, well, he's a felon. Felons shouldn't have guns. Do you know that most felonies, when you think of felon, you guys are automatically jumping to murder, rape, child molestation. See, those people shouldn't have guns. Why? Because those people should never see the light of freedom. That's seriously. Those people should never see the light of freedom. When you commit a crime, a heinous physical act against another human being, I don't think you should ever see the light of day. That's just what I believe. But most felons, most people that are convicted of felonies are non-violent crimes. Some felonies could be as little as you were a kid and you broke into you smashed out a car window, or you did damage over 500, or you had a prosecutor because your mommy and daddy weren't connected enough. Your mom and dad weren't connected enough with the judge and the politicians and everything to get your butt out of the hooshkow. Or because you didn't have the money to fight it, because you couldn't afford an attorney, you got a public defender who then plea bargained or talked you into plea bargain and basically lied to you, said, oh, this won't be on your record. You can get it expunged. Do they not realize, all right, let me explain something to you. It is not up to your attorney to expunge your criminal record. That is up to the judge. And the judge typically ain't going to do it because he just prosecuted you. So he's not going to come out and explain it. Let me say this one more time before we go on the break. You are asking the man, in this case, the man who just sentenced you to jail, to unsentence you from that crime. Ain't going to happen. But of course, the public defender who you think is out there to defend your public, and there are good public defenders. There's a great movie or a great documentary called Gideon's Sword or Gideon's People, and it talks about the public defenders. It talks about these people who truly, truly have all the passion in what they're doing. And they fight. And it's amazing. And they'll tell you that the system is stacked against you. See, the criminal prosecution has unlimited resources. They have this thing called taxpayers' money. And if they want to prosecute you, they're going to prosecute you. And there's nothing you can do about it. They have unlimited resources. Now, the argument that they're going to make is that the resources, what they dig up or they discover, they have to give to the defense so that you can use that. But of course, they can control what they dig up and what they don't, what they leave alone. See how that works? But so, yeah, I agree with Eric Holder. We're going to take a break, and when we get back we're at the bottom of the hour. When we get back from the break, we'll discuss that a little bit more.
Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House. Join us at www.patriotfb.com, a social network for patriots. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us. And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Warriors should know that resources are available. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
To the government, don't talk to the policeman. That's right. Don't talk to him. Yeah, I mean, going back right before we take the break, we were talking about felons. You were talking about, and that's why it's very important. And it's posted there at patriotfb.com. There's a great video on there, and you got to look under the legal section. It talks about don't talk to police. You might be able to just Google, or search it. You got to watch that video. It's amazing what you can be charged with if the government feels that, you're a threat to them. And look, they are doing that. You know that there are more Americans killed at the hands of law enforcement in the United States than there were in both wars? Yeah. Well over 5,000 Americans during the same time. There's about 3,200 soldiers. Active war zone. Bombs, they didn't have we had airplanes. Bombs, shooting, active war zone. You're more likely to get killed on the streets of Chicago by a police officer or New York or wherever than you are by the Taliban or Al Qaeda. Yeah. And don't think for a minute that this government isn't turning on. So yeah, Eric Holder, of course, it's all about the votes. They want the votes. They need the votes. But it's amazing, if his intentions, and the reason why I make this argument is that if the reason for his intentions were pure, which we know they're not, if they were though, wouldn't he rescind the say? No, of course not. We want them to vote, but we don't want them to have guns. Whoa, wait now. Don't want them to have too many freedoms. When they start getting freedoms, they start getting all crazy. They start getting crazy. They start talking and start thinking for themselves, and we don't want them thinking for themselves. But we want them to vote so we can think for them. There you go. It's all about what's not being said. I am a firm believer. We ought to just do an anti-news show. What the news isn't saying. That's where the truth lies. That's where true knowledge is. That's where the apple is. So there you go. You have Eric Holder now lobbying, saying it's not fair that felons can't vote. And the states are wrong. And the same laws that we're going to circumvent because we have an agenda, the same laws that we're going to use, the same pen that the president's going to use to overrule states' rights, he is going to now use to overrule the states' rights when it comes to felons. And like I said, I agree with Holder. If you have done your time, if you have served your sentence, and you have done your time, and I'm not talking about violent crimes. I'm talking because I'm a firm believer if you're a violent criminal, your ass should never see the light of day. I'm sorry. If you're a rapist, child molester, murderer, where you create physical harm against another person, you spend the rest of your life in jail. I'm sorry. You can make it any argument you want to. Of course, we're not talking about justified defense. We're talking about physical harm where your sole intention was to rape, murder, pillage, not pillage, but rape, murder, or molest. Those are crimes in which, in Jeff's world, you never see the light of day. So, I agree with you, Eric. Just didn't go far enough. Of course. I know. Yes, I know. Can't give the man a gun. We don't want the angry black man to have a gun. Why don't you just come out and say it? Seriously, why don't you just come out and say what's on your mind, you racist bigot? And he is racist. See, the thing is I hate this when these liberals come to people and they act like, oh, we care about you. They don't give a rat's butt about you. I care more about my inner city people than this government does. And how do I know that? How can I prove that? As I sit here, and I know a lot of you guys disagree, because it breaks my heart to see anybody in abject poverty. It does. I don't care who you are. I don't care if your pants are hanging down to your freaking... I wish you'd pull your pants up, though. I want you to have the same opportunity that everybody else has. I want you to have the same slice of pie that this American dream will give you. I want you to participate. Who knows, you might be the greatest musician. You might be the greatest artist. You might be the greatest doctor if you were given the right opportunity. But no, this is a government. You see, and you want to sit there and you want to blame me, but, I'm not the one keeping you down. We are not the one. We are asking you to come and join us, to be part of this American experience, this exceptionalism, and do something better and greater than yourselves and this community and this country. See, so you ask yourself, who's the racist? Me, who would do anything to see you come up in the world, or the government that's doing everything to oppress you, to keep you down and to keep you at the foot of their boots? See, in my world, you would have equal opportunity. You would have the same opportunity as my children. But no, this administration, this government, what they want to do is they want to keep you down. They want to keep you oppressed, and they want to keep throwing you bones every bit that they can. And then they're going to tell you, look what we're doing for you. I saw the cartoon as the Patriot FB site came back up, the meme, where they basically had a dog peeing on the guy's leg. Yeah, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. That kind of comes to mind with this administration. But it's incredible. It's incredible. The mind games, the level in which this government, this administration, this new world order is willing to deceive, corrupt, and malign people. It's rotten to the core. Rotten to the core. And the more you realize that, the better off we're going to be. But stay right here. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host. When we get back from the break, we got TSA interrogation Jewish author.
Advertise to thousands of fellow patriots with Patriot FB Radio. Email advertise@patriotfb.com for more details. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
What you are, you can dance in a prancing around my leg.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You join me here live every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.patriotfb.com. You know, I just noticed something. You know, one of the things that's really cool about the software we run here, it actually has a beat counter. So as I am, like, talking really fast, I realize that the music kind of matches that. It's kind of cool that way, the way it works and selects the music. So, yeah, a lot of you guys ask, do we think? No, it's that's all automated. So it picks the music according to the previous beat or whatever it is. So enough of that. I would like to say it looks like we got a caller, so we'll bring him on. Hello, caller. State your name and where are you calling from?
This is Joe. I'm in Kansas.
Joe in Kansas.
Reason my,
yeah. Beep. I heard you today, my friend. Drop the F-bomb.
Yeah. I won't keep you very long, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to call and say welcome back to the airway.
Thank you.
We've missed your little words of wit and what have you. You know, it's great to be back on here. And I've got to ask you, you surely had to be jumping up and down mad at one time or another over this whole deal, discovering that it was going to take so long. Was it a trial of patience for you, brother? You know what was really bizarre about this whole thing is that, no, I wasn't. Not at all. I was upset. I was more... My anger or my frustration, I don't even think I was angry. My frustration was the fact that people didn't have the same priority as I had. They didn't view what we were doing with the same vit and vigor as I was. And that was frustrating to me. But I can tell, you know what was really bizarre about this is that there were times where I'd be screaming at people. And I've literally done that in other businesses where, you know, I'm on the phone and I'm just going crazy. My response was, look, you either get it done, it's going to get done one way or the other, and either you're going to be a part of it or you're not, so you guys decide. And I'm a firm believer. I don't know if it's just because of the show, and it's just because of the people that I've met doing the show and guys like you, where I've realized that every downturn has an upside to it. And I will tell you, if it wasn't for this issue, I would have never been, you know, I'm hosting with this company for 8+ years. I would have never have looked outside of hosting with another company ever. And I would have never have seen that there was a better opportunity. So this actually worked out better for us. The fact that we had these issues. Glad.
Yeah, that we had these issues and because we had these, some of the experts that I listened to in the industry said, hey, look, did you not think about if you're going to change, this is the time to change. Why don't you go ahead and make the jump now? And so I'm looking at it that way. I am. I really am. Yeah, I'm grateful that we early on.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah.
Well, I know the quality of your show sounds a lot better.
Thank you.
And it seems to work a lot faster when I post stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I was like, man, I could understand your taking so long to do all that, but I was like, God, I gotta get off this Facebook thing again.
Yeah.
I was getting back into that routine.
I know. I apologize.
Because I'm trying to fight the good fight. I won't keep you long. I just want to say welcome back.
Thank you,
Jeff.
Glad to be
thanks
back
for all that you do.
Thank you. Thanks to be back. And Joe, I will tell you that there is a 12-step Facebook meeting right after this one. You can join. I'll have the coffee and the donuts, and you can join us. we'll get you off that addiction.
Right.
We'll help you. But no, thank you very much. And you know, and to be honest with you, I mean, I love when you're passionate about something, you will do whatever it takes, and I'm passionate about this. I'm convinced, I'm convicted that this is the right thing that we need to be doing right now. And so, just because it's rough, we can't give up. We got to keep fighting. And I'm going to say something to you, Joe. All right, so I'm going to give guys spill some of my words of wisdom to you. I know that you're doing your show, and I know that you're doing. For those that aren't listening, Joe does a show. We need to get it posted up here, but it's the Everyday Joe Show, right? Correct? Is that the title?
Average Joe.
Average Joe, the Average Joe, and I apologize. I was listening to it once again today. The Average Joe Show. And he does it up here on the air and stuff. And, this is not about being a polished broadcaster, Joe. And I want you to keep your spirits up because you are doing a good fight. You might think that you're not, making change or whatever, but someone who is just wants to just listen to a conversation, your show is a perfect for that. And, keep it up. Don't get down on yourself. I've been listening to your show. I know JJ's been listening to your show. And, look, even the guys that have been doing this for as many years as they've been doing it, and so we all have things to learn. We all need to become better at what we do. The only way you're going to do that, though, is continually do what you're doing. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged, my friend. You're doing a great job. I'm proud of you, and you'll get there. And you're already there. There's things that I do that I need to change as well to become a better broadcaster. And I'm sorry that I have not been able to spend the time with you to get you, to get you that level. But you do need to. Did you see the post that I sent you about the show clock? About taking your breaks?
The paper thing, the PDF file.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. As a matter of fact,
yeah, use that.
And I downloaded it.
Use that.
And, because my show is so loose, I really don't have commercials. I tried to download some music off the iPod or iPad or whatever it is the other day, iTunes.
Yep. Just make sure, so you don't get in trouble, Joe, just make sure that you're recording what songs you're playing so that I can include those in on our ASCAP BMI for the month, our report. And then that way you're covered. So write those down when you're playing them and stuff. That way we'll make sure you're covered and you don't get in trouble. But, keep it up. I'm telling you, the best advice that I can give you right now is to use that show prep that I sent you. And anybody that wants to do a show, I'll be glad to share it with you. Do that show prep. Fill that out. You can just write it in. And even though you're all over the place, write your topics down so that way you can kind of cover them. But you need to follow those breaks because let me tell you, there is so much work that you can do during your breaks. I do it all the time. JJ does it as well. That you do during those breaks are not only important to give yourself a break, but they're also important for you to formulate your next plan of attack. And so there's a reason that they're there. They're not arbitrary. They're there for a reason. So just, grab a song. Each break is, 4 minutes, 3 minutes long. Grab most music is 4 minutes. Just let the whole song play. And then while that's doing that, get your tea or whatever, or get your web page, go to your web pages and stuff. But you need to follow those. And, because there's so that's the only advice that I would give you at this time. And talking about breaks.
That, Jeff, and I know you're a busy man. I hate to stop and ask stupid questions here, now and then. But I'm lucky to get stuff typed into the computer, let alone know how.
Write it down. Don't type it in. Joe, that's why I sent you a PDF so you can print it out and you can fill in those boxes. Just write it down with a piece of paper and a pencil.
Oh, right. Well, I understand that part, but I'm saying as far as computer operation, I'm just an average guy.
The average Joe show.
I know how to send an email.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So here we go. We're going to talk about breaks. I got one coming up.
Join Join us at www.patriotfb.com, a social network for patriots. Get involved. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House.
Lunatic Fred kind of got me off guard there as I was queuing up my next thing. I gotta remember to go back. You know, one of the things that we're gonna, since we upgraded the servers, we are going to upgrade some of the computers here around the show. So right now I'm running off of one computer does it all. So we're gonna be breaking it up and stuff and getting our big show clock and all. You know, kind of cool. We're moving into the 21st century, right? We're getting there. We're getting there. You know, right before we went off the break, you know, one of the things, go out to the Average Joe show. You know, he posts on here. Joe is a great guy. I call him my librarian. He's our librarian. If I had a position, he would be our head librarian. That guy is a plethora of knowledge. Incredible. And his articles. Get out to freedomprepper.com. That's freedomprepper.com. I know he's also writing for, I think he's on Prepper Recon. I think he wrote some things for Mark there. Get out and take a look at, you know, just incredible articles. Incredible articles. And you can also listen to this show. We are going to get him spun up here at Patriot FB as one of our shows. It's just a matter of getting the programming done on my end. And, you know, there's about 3 other people that are backlogged. So we're trying to get all of this stuff. There's just so much to do and so little time to do it in. But, you know, highly right. Great shows. Incredible shows. So before we go off to the break, we got about 4 minutes here before we roll into our third hour. I want to cover something. You know, if there was any doubt that the Republican, the House GOP was for you, this should pretty much be the nail in that coffin. Senate passes clean debt ceiling bill. The Senate passed the clean debt ceiling bill, sending the legislature of President Obama, who is expected to sign a law. The Senate suspends the debt limit to March 15th, 2015. Now, see, this is the thing. Let me kind of explain to you how the government works. The Senate creates the bill. It's the House's responsibility to fund the bill. So that means not only did the House or the Senate, and we know the Senate's a lost cause. Right? We already know that. I mean, come on. You stand up there and read Green Eggs and Ham all you want to, Senator Cruz. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Read it all. Green Eggs and Ham. I am. Green Eggs and Ham. You can do what you want to do. It doesn't really matter. You know, because at the end of the day, you don't have the votes. And look, let me kind of explain to you, and I know a lot of you guys are going to criticize me for this, but let's be fair. I don't want to be accused of not being fair and consistent. Ron Paul, one of Ron Paul's ploys is that he would interject, he would put pork into a bill that he knew had the votes to pass without his vote, and then he would vote against it. So what does that do? Why would Ron? And there's a history. He has a history of doing that. Most legislatures do have a history of that. So he can say he was against the bill. Look, I voted against the bill, but he knew that he knew it was going to pass. So be critical. That's the games that these politicians play. That's the games that they play. Is that they will, they'll vote against their own bill or they'll do whatever. Look at Cruz. It's an immigration bill. He got it going, though. Who was the one that got the momentum going? It was Cruz. And then he handed it off to the Senate, Paul. And then he said, well, I'm not for it because it's not popular. But, if you weren't for it, why'd you think about it? Why'd you even bring it up? Why'd you put it in someone's mind? So come on. So, of course, now the House, they kick the can. Ching, ching. That's my can sound. March 15th, 2015. There you go. They're going to pass, they're going to fund it. What does that mean? Well, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to break it down for you right after this break in the third hour. So stay with us, but you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host.
You are listening to PatriotFB.com.
From Washington, this is VOA News. Suspected Boko Haram militants strike again with deadly results in northern Nigeria. The black box voice recorder recovered from the wreckage of an Algerian military aircraft. I'm Victor Beatty reporting from Washington. Suspected Boko Haram extremists attacked a town in northeast Nigeria, killing nearly 40 people and burning down hundreds of homes. VOA's House of Service reports dozens of gunmen disguised as soldiers attacked the town of Konduga in Borno State late Tuesday. Witnesses say the attackers set fire to houses and shot people as they fled. The Borno State governor visited Konduga Wednesday and told reporters up to 70% of the town was destroyed. There has been no immediate claim of responsibility. In Abuja Wednesday, Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan sacked 4 more cabinet ministers, including the aviation minister, a close ally, part of a continuing wave of changes ahead of next year's election. Mr. Jonathan dismissed his chief of staff Monday after earlier overhauling his military leadership. In Central African Republic, human rights groups say a wave of ethnic cleansing has taken hold, where Muslims are fleeing their homes and neighborhoods to escape attacks by Christian and allied militia. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch both issued calls Tuesday for French and African peacekeepers to protect Muslims. In Washington, U.S. spokesperson Marie Harf Wednesday called again for an end to sectarian violence.
This violence, the cycle of violence, needs to stop. We, along with the French and the MISCA forces on the ground, are closely monitoring the situation. We will continue to work with the transitional president, with international humanitarian and human rights organizations to prevent further violence.
Rights groups say the violence was triggered by a wave of killings and looting in Christian villages by mostly Muslim Salika rebels who toppled President Francois Bozizé nearly a year ago. High Commissioner for Refugees Antonio Guterres was in the capital Bangui Wednesday and called it an immense tragedy that communities are being separated by what he called terrible crimes. He lauded the work of religious leaders, including the country's archbishop, who are trying to establish a normal life for those in CAR. More than 5,000 African troops and 1,600 from France are working in CAR under a UN mandate. The European Union expected to add another 500 troops. On Tuesday, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon warned the sectarian violence is changing the country's demography, putting the country at risk of becoming divided into parts. In Egypt, the state news agency says the country's prosecutor general has referred nearly 200 people to court over the storming of a police station outside of Cairo last year, in which 15 police officers were killed. The assault came as security forces swept into 2 protest camps in August, supporting ousted President Mohamed Morsi. The Sinai-based jihadist group Ansar Beit el-Magdis has raised security concerns in Egypt since Mr. Morsi's ouster. Here's VOA's Elizabeth Arrett.
Ansar Beit el-Magdis, or Supporters of Jerusalem, is one of several jihadi groups based in Egypt's largely lawless Sinai Peninsula. Claiming inspiration from al-Qaeda, they've launched missiles into Israel, but their most frequent targets are domestic. Security analyst Sameh Saif al-Yazl says Morsi's amnesty of jailed terrorists and allowing others to enter the country during his presidency, as well as the rise of ABM attacks after, are damning.
He allowed them to come and to stay in Sinai. Why? Because they convinced him that they will be the second line of defense if anything happens to him or the Muslim Brotherhood.
But any ties remain murky, and the arrest of protesting students, journalists, and others on terror-related charges only appears to muddy the waters further. Political activist Wael Khalil says the government's current path leaves terrorists at large while possibly creating more. And with more foreign fighters reportedly coming to Sinai daily, Egypt's government, like Syria before it, may find it needs as many people on its side as possible. Elizabeth Arrett, VOA News, Cairo.
The black box, which monitors pilot conversations, has been recovered from the wreckage of an Algerian military plane that crashed Tuesday near the eastern city Constantine, killing 77 on board. The black box voice recorder could shed light on the cause of the crash of the C-130 turboprop aircraft. In South Africa Wednesday, Democratic Alliance opposition party supporters held a protest march in Johannesburg aimed at the country's chronic high unemployment. The protest came ahead of May 7 elections seen as a test of the ruling African National Congress government of President Jacob Zuma. ANC supporters tried to interrupt the protest near the ANC headquarters. Police had intervened with rubber bullets and stun grenades. The DA rally was ended early. There was no further violence. I'm Victor Beattie, VOA News. More can be found at our internet website. That address once again, voanews.com.
Don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. We'll be able to fly. Don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. Thank you for joining us for the third and final hour of tonight's broadcast. I hope you are getting what you need from this. If you'd like to join in the conversation, give us a call, 1-800-580-4870. That's 1-800-580-4870. Let me say it a little bit slower for you. 1-800-580-4870. Write it down. Post it. Put it out there. Love to hear from you. That was Blue Oyster Cult. Don't fear the Reaper. You know, there's times I feel the Reaper. Man, stick a fork in it. It's done. It's done. So right before we went off the break, you know, we were talking about if you believe that you had a friend in the GOP, GOP, let me shed some light on it a little bit more for you. Yep, the GOP, your beloved party, the Boner Party, tongue in cheek. I say that, the Boner Party. What a bunch of. Well, yep, we'll behave. So, you know, they passed it. Let me give you the names of the Republican. Here's your illustrious Republicans that passed this: John Boner, Kent Carver, Dave Camp, Eric Cantor, Howard Coble, Chris Collins, Charles Dent, Michael Fitzpatrick, Michael Grimm, Richard Hanna, Doc Hastings, Dara Issa, Peter King, Kevin McCarthy, Buck McCowan, Patrick Manahan, whatever, Patrick May, I can never pronounce his name, Gary Miller, Devin Nunes, David Richard, Hal Rogers, Peter Rotscombe, Ed Royce, John Rynam, John Schimmis, Chris Smith, David Valledo, and Frank Wolf. They all passed it. They all voted yes. Kicking the can down the road. We're going to play a little game, boys and girls, with our economic future. And we're going to kick the can down the road. So, yep, they voted for it. So they're basically, now let me tell you what you got with this vote. Debt instantly jumps to 18. Got the numbers here. Let me pull it up right here. Right here in front of me. Gotta pull it up. Gotta find it for you. I just had it. It's crazy. I've lost my mind. About $19 trillion. Let's just round it up. They tell you in radio, don't give the precise numbers. So let me just. So 19 trillion, roughly 18 point something trillion. It's going to jump it up instantly. Now, you know which is even worse. So they kicked it down the road, raised the debt ceiling, and not only did they raise the debt ceiling, they suspended it. That's the key. They suspended the debt ceiling, which means government can spend. See, normally when they pass these resolution bills, they pass it with a dollar amount. See, they've even gotten to the point. Why even bother? Why bother? See, it used to be we had a budget. You know, we had a budget. The president did the budget. The Congress agreed upon it. You know, at least attempt to do a budget. You know, Mr. President, don't even bother. Just go play golf. Why waste? Go play golf. And then they would do these resolutions to increase, and they would put a dollar amount. All right, we're going to increase. All right, we authorize it. All right, so it's kind of like you getting a credit card, right? So you go to your wife and you say, "Wife, I need a credit card." Well, okay. So it starts out with, "Well, where's our budget? Can we afford one?" Oh yeah, we can afford one. Okay, all right, go ahead and get it. So you get a credit card. And it's $300 limit or $500 limit or $1,000 limit. And you go back, "Hey, wife, you know, I need a credit card. Do we have it in the budget?" Yeah, we can make minimum payments on the other one, but I need another one. So, okay. So you go out and get yourself a $2,500 credit card. 6 months later, you come back, your wife, I need another credit card. Well, can we pay it back? Well, no, don't worry about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a credit card out, and I'm going to take that credit card, I'm going to put the debt of the other credit card on this credit card, and then we're going to pay it off. Oh, okay. This is how families get into bankruptcy. Now, we talk about it all the time on the show. This government is bankrupt. There is no mathematical way. Look, you know, at least with the family, you have the opportunity, you know, that possibly to get out of bankruptcy. You tighten the belt, you get another job, you do income, you cut your expenses, all sorts of things, and you can possibly get out of your financial situation. There's hope. There's a possibility. With this government and this administration, it is mathematically impossible. Let me explain that. Let me slow it down for you. I'm going to slow it down so we can all understand this. You have a 5-gallon bucket. You have a ship. The size, it started out as a rowboat, but because of whatever, it is now the size of a small aircraft carrier. That's the debt. Well, no, that's actually the debt. That's the United States. And it is filling up with water, and you're given a 5-gallon bucket. Now, you can bail that out, right, with that 5-gallon bucket. But now the government decides to open up another hole in the ship on the other end. So you got to run back and forth. It's impossible. With the government, every time the government takes out more money, raises the debt ceiling, doesn't find a way of patching the hole, they are opening more holes in the bottom of the ship. But you're still expected with that 5-gallon bucket. You're not given any other tools because they're not willing. They're not, number one, they're not slowing their spending. And then number two, they're not cutting their expenses. So they're not giving you any tools to help you bail out the ship. You're still being asked to bail the ship with that same 5-gallon bucket. And the bucket's not getting any bigger. In all cases, it's getting smaller because as the Fed pumps more money into the economy, your bucket now gets smaller. Its effectiveness is, in effect, less than. Every day. Every day. But any mathematician, and I know because you guys weren't, most Americans are no longer taught hard sciences. We're taught, touchy-feely stuff. I'm not against touchy-feely stuff. I think ought to be, I think the arts, humanities, and stuff ought to be taught. But when I'm talking about touchy-feely stuff, I'm talking about Steve and Joe touchy. I don't want to say Joe. Joe's going to say, "Oh, you call me." No, I'm not saying. Steve and whatever the acronym now is for gay couples. That's the touchy stuff they're teaching. Not teaching you the hard math. It is economically impossible for us to pay this debt off. Can't do it. So anybody would tell you, let me break it down. You're driving in your car. Let me kind of explain. Let me put it in another term that you understand this. You're driving in your car. And it's one of a kind, custom made. No one else has ever made it. Ever. This is the first time. Now, they've taken ideas from other car manufacturers, right? It's kind of like our great America. This great experiment called America. They've taken ideas from other manufacturers and they put this into the car. The problem is you were just told that the engine's going to blow up. Right? It's wore out. You drove it. And you can't get any more parts for it. They don't make any more parts. It's done. It's over with. Stick a fork in it. Now, you can continue to drive the car until it blows up, and that's what this government's going to do. But the problem is they're not putting any money. They're putting all their money into this car, and they're not getting it fixed. And because they're not getting it fixed or they're not saving up, they don't have any money left over to get another car. So they're going to be carless. They're not going to have a car when it's all said and done. Now, I see that we have a caller. We're going to go on a break, caller. So if you want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. Or you can hang up and call us back. That's fine either way. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Like I said, there's just no way that this government can ever pay its debts. And they keep adding to it. They keep on opening up new holes. And in the meantime, they're making your bucket smaller. It's not feasible. It ain't going to happen. You better prepare. You better be ready for the inevitable. Banking holiday. Default. All you guys that have 401ks and pensions, they ain't going to have them. Get ready. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show. When we get back at the top of the hour, we'll take call.
Advertise to thousands of fellow patriots with Patriot FB Radio. Email advertise@patriotfb.com for more details. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331. Get involved. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. I am your host. Join me live here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com, or you can actually go to our main site, which is patriotfb.com. Old habits are hard to have. So I noticed that we got a caller, so we'll kind of roll right into this. So caller, welcome to the show. Give us your name and where are you calling from? Your first name, please.
Hey, Jeff. It's Matt from Lodi, California.
Hey, Matt from Lodi. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, pretty good. I pulled my back the other day, so I didn't have to go to work today.
Oh, wow.
But it gave me a chance to actually listen to JJ's show.
Yeah, he told me that you called in.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that conversation.
I'm like the NSA, man. I know everything.
I figure you guys are, all know each other.
Yeah. Well,
But I had a chance to do some research about some of the stuff that he was talking about too,
Sure.
Some of these things that aren't quite in the mainstream news media. I mean, for instance, with his budget and debt ceiling, and with China being poised to actually purchase the Federal Reserve, I was just kind of wondering if you could give us your opinion on that and touch on that.
Bought and paid for. That's my opinion. It has already been bought and paid for. The Chinese, think about it. They own the debt. The Federal Reserve can manipulate the debt any way, up or down, any way they want to. So it's only in the Chinese best interest to get control of it and to get deals on the books with them. And that's something that they're not talking about, but they are part and parcel in the conversation at the Federal Reserve banking meetings. If you don't think they are, then you don't have a grasp of economics 101. I mean, they are our number one creditor besides the Federal Reserve, so naturally they're going to be in a creditors meeting, and they're represented.
The best way I could bring myself to understand it was essentially that in October, America defaulted. We have defaulted. We have not paid our loans, and we're in the process of the foreclosure negotiations.
Yep.
We're at the part where the bank's talking to you before they come and get your house.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, is that they're already in the, they're a creditor, they're in line, and so they're negotiating. And and naturally their economy requires us to be consumers. So they're it's hand in hand. It's an incestuous relationship, to say the least. Because like if you were a bank and you were the banker and you loaned out $10 million in assets to Donald Trump, but you only had $11 million in your bank account, when you did it, naturally, if Donald Trump fails, you're going to fail too. So, I mean, and the Chinese see that, and that's what and that's what our government has actually been banking on, is they know that their number one investor, other than the Fed, is not going to allow the government to default, because if they they're going to be hurt too. But China is actually starting to push its merchandise and its products and services to the European Union. So there's a point in which they say, we don't need you anymore.
Right.
And
the other part that I did notice on the mainstream media news, what do you think about Eric Holder's announcement that he's going to be leaving his position this year?
Yeah. Hurrah. So, we're gonna eat what? So we get another shell in there. It's it's like not Janet Reno. It's like when Janet Reno. I already forgot her name. When she left Homeland Security, and then you had the shell that moved in. It's all the same. It's all the same thing. I mean,
that's Napolitano. I think she's running the university system out here now.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that's right, Janet Napolitano. But she, it's all. Look, you've got to. I tell people this, and I've actually come to the epiphany as well when I was listening. During the downtime, I was listening to, some of my old mentors and stuff at Coast to Coast and listening to Knapp and those guys. And like I said, there was an economist there from Sonoma County, and he made such an elegant argument. And I wish I could replay it, but I can't because it's copyrighted. But if you can get out to Coast AM, pay the $5 a month or whatever, and you can. Great shows. They have some great midnight shows that you can download as well. And I'm going to get him on as a guest, but he basically pointed out the fact, which is what I kind of knew all along. They're all shells. They're all puppets for the world masters, and there's about 98 of them that control about 96 to 98% of the world's assets. And so it doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, freaking Chief Burger from McDonald's. It doesn't matter who it is. It's still the same masters are still running the show. And that's just the way it is.
Any thoughts on who's going to replace Holder?
No. I don't know. It could be Satan himself. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And I say that, and I'm not, look, America, I'm not giving up. I'm not throwing in the towel. What you're hearing from me is not the attitude of defeatism. It's the attitude of reality. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter who replaces them. It's still going to be the same game. It's still going to be the same game.
I appreciate the conversation tonight,
well, not a problem.
But, those muscle relaxers are kicking in from my back, so I'm going to let you get back to your show and finish listening.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Hey, man, I missed your calls, by the way. I did. I missed you guys.
I appreciate it. I was a little worried 2 days without you there.
I know. No, we were. We had the server issues. Once again, it never ends here. It never ends. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So, thanks for calling, my friend.
Good night, Jeff.
Yep. Good night. Take care of yourself. Get that back healed up and everything. I know you weren't out shoveling snow like we were here in the Great White North. And, talk about Great White North. Talk about, did you hear that they said that the Great Lakes are actually going to freeze over possibly? Possibly going to freeze over this year, which is just incredible. Let me kind of explain something. I've sailed the lakes. I've been on them on sailboats. I've been thrashed around pretty violently in the Great Lakes. There are a lot of professional sailors who come here. These are racing boat sail. These are racing boat sail. These are the big sail. Big guy, the big boys, who have come here to race the Mackinac, and they've dropped sails and gone home. Drop sails basically said they ain't going to race. See, the thing about Lake Michigan, which is really crazy about it, when you sail, you get hit, and when you're in the ocean, I've sailed in the ocean too. When you're in the ocean and you're in waves, now granted, you get huge waves in the ocean, don't get me wrong, but they're coming at you in one direction. On Lake Michigan, they come at you from multiple directions. Yeah, you get this chop. It's crazy. It's insane. We were on a sailboat. I was delivering it from Manistee, Michigan, coming back to Chicago. Me and a buddy, Michael Green. I won't say his last name. Michael, dear friend, I miss the guy. And we were bringing a boat back from a race. That we were what they call delivering the sailboat. So we're bringing this boat back, and this thing is it's a racing sailboat. So it's decked out pretty well. It doesn't have what you think is decked out. It's decked out for racing and performance. And we had 22-foot waves. There is nothing scarier when Michael was on the tiller and I was working the foredeck. And what's crazy is when you look behind or you look at someone and you see pitch black. And I mean, we were in the middle of the storm, and that it's, that there should be some kind of light in the horizon, but it's pitch black. And then all of a sudden you see the white as the boat just gets pounded from a wave. I mean, we were getting pounded. And like I said, I've been on the ocean. I would rather be in a storm on the ocean than on Lake Michigan. But I'll tell you, it's beautiful. It's incredible. I have pictures. I took my girls. We, sailed down to Chicago, 13 hours. We did it in the night in the fog, and it was incredible. But when you wake up, Lake Michigan when it's so calm, it's like glass, and it looks like oil. And it's just incredible. It's a sight that you will never see unless you are out on the water. And you see some pretty crazy things on the water. You get perspective really quick when you're out in the middle of the ocean on a 30 or 40 foot sailboat. You get perspective really quick on life. But I'll tell you, the fact that it's just incredible. I can't imagine Lake Michigan actually freezing across all the way from one end to the other. That is just unbelievable. It is a huge body of water. And I know a lot of you go, well, so much for global warming. There was not by fire, but by ice. Great novel, great book, not novel. It's written by a climatologist. Talked about the global freezing. But of course, they want to perpetuate this lie, this notion about, and now they're saying, well, the reason why we're having freezing is because they changed the weather patterns with the CO2s and all of this stuff. No. Whatever. It's another way of extracting tax. The other great lie, if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Another great way of extracting money from you and I.
MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
I need to fix that. Kind of got it out of order there, but it's okay. It happens. But going back, I don't care. The end result is it's cold. They call it global warming. They call it whatever they want to. It's cold up here. South got hit with. Did you see the empty shelves? I mean, that's one day. That's one panic, people. That's why you need to join us right here every Thursday, as we have Prepper Recon joins us, and we talk about all things prepping. You want to see a dry run? Go down to Atlanta, Georgia right now and go in the grocery store. That's what it's going to be like. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we got more news and honor the fallen.
Join us at www.patriotfb.com, a social network for patriots. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
Much till you spend
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. I don't know, if you guys saw this. I was actually out on the internet, during the break there. This is troubling. I don't know, an attack on a grid. Here you go.
The possible cause of a transformer leak at a PG&E substation near San Jose. KTVU's Tara Moriarty joining us live near Metcalf Road to tell us why vandalism may be to blame. Tara?
Yeah, and we're also hearing reports that federal agents may be taking part in this investigation due to the seriousness of exactly what happened. And in light of what happened in Boston, there's a lot of frayed nerves, so we'll definitely keep you posted on that. Right now, we want to show you some new video that we just got in from Chopper 2, and it shows oil spewing out of at least one transformer, and it appears to be leaking under 7 transformers. PG&E told KTVU that vandals broke into the substation off Coyote Ranch Road near Highway 101 and Metcalf around 1:30 this morning. Gunfire erupted and bullets pierced the transformer, creating this leak. Now, officials say a couple thousand gallons of insulating oil leaked, and right now hazmat crews are trying to vacuum up that oil because the danger is that, a leak poses a fire hazard. But in speaking with firefighters, the chances of that happening are pretty slim because the oil would need to heat up to more than 600 degrees to ignite, I should say. Now, CAL FIRE is the lead agency on this, and they are containing the leak, trying to ensure that no PG&E customers have service interrupted. They're also going to be mitigating any environmental impact. And so far, no neighbors have had to be evacuated. But we do want to mention back here live, you can see this is actually the corner of Monterey.
There you go. We'll get back to the news here. So that came out of California. That was reported on the Blaze. Now the thing is let me kind of explain to you. Let me give you the highlights of this. On April 16, 2013. Why didn't you hear about this? Why didn't we hear about this? On April 16, 2013, 6 men launched an attack on a critical power station in California. The attack consisted of hundreds of AK-47 rounds being unleashed on 12 large transformers, and it was first called vandalism. But the former chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission calls it the most significant incident of domestic terrorism involving the grid that has ever occurred. It has largely gone unreported, although the Blaze did cover it in last December. Dr. Peter Vincent Price tells the Blaze, if it was a terrorist attack, the electric power industry and the media are almost certainly in error to describe it as a failed attack. Former CIA Director James Woolsey adds, without electricity, we aren't a civilization, and this is a major societal vulnerability. So at 12:58 a.m. to 1:07 a.m., attacks cut telephone cables. At 1:31, attackers opened fire on the substation. At 1:41, first 911 call from power plant operator. At 1:45 a.m., transformer all over the substation start crashing. At 1:50 a.m., attacker ends and the gunmen leave. At 1:51, police arrive but can't enter the lock station. At 3:15, utility electricians arrive. So there you go. Wasn't reported. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's out being reported on the Blaze. Now, of course, they don't, call it vandalism. It wasn't vandalism. They cut the telephone lines so that the security couldn't call out. It was an attack. And you can actually see, there's a video, if you go out to the Blaze, you can actually see the night video of them firing at the substation. You can see some gunfire. So, why wasn't this reported? Why was this held back from the American people? Why were we not told? What are they hiding? In all fairness, you would think the government would be all over this, would be calling it what it is, but why aren't they? Why aren't they talking about it? What are they holding back from us? We'll have to do some more digging, some more research, figure out what's going on there. But that's pretty incredible stuff. I'm going to have to, if you go out to www.patriotfb.com, I'm actually going to paste that up there, and then you guys can take a look for yourself. Tell me what you think. Maybe Joe do some research on it. But just wanted to share that with you guys. But as we wind down in the evening, I just want to say, it's incredible to be back. I thoroughly enjoy the time that I get to spend with you. I thoroughly enjoy the opportunity that I get every night that I do this show. And I also enjoy, I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed some of the time off, some of the break. As frustrating as it was, I enjoyed having that opportunity to spend.
Get involved. Get involved. Support Stone Anthony for President. www.stoneanthony2016.com. Put a real American in the White House.
I thoroughly enjoyed the time that I got to spend with Sandy. But it feels good. It feels good to be back. To be back and be part of this conversation here at the Midnight Patriot Radio Show podcast. Join us live every Monday through Friday on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com, or also you can call us at 1-800-580-4870. That's 1-800-580-4870, and catch us on the web at www.patriotfb.com. The site is back. Obviously, you guys are listening on it. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what, if there's any news, feel free to give us a call. We're going to take a quick break, come back and do Honor the Fallen.
Advertise to thousands of fellow patriots with Patriot FB Radio. Email advertise@patriotfb.com for more details. For all your prepping needs, visit our friends at MountainViewOffGridLiving.com or call 208-615-6331. 208-615-6331.
You say you were wrong to ever leave me alone, and now you're sorry. You're lonesome and scared, and you say you'd be happy if you could just come back home. Well, here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Call someone who'll listen and might give a damn. Maybe one of your sordid affairs. You come around here handing me none of your lies. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Never turn back, so you're leaving, caught me unaware. But the fact is, you're wrong.
You're listening. That's Travis Tritt. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares. I just couldn't help it. All the complaining that we do. This is sometimes how we feel. I know you guys give a damn. I know that we care. I know that the real Americans listen to this show every night. We ask, that you go out, you invite your friends and family. We got Patriot FB up and running again. We got it on a platform. Only time will tell. I can't tell you that it will be 100%. I know that it's going to be a lot better than what it was. I know the redundancy that we have built into the system because it is now on the cloud. And I know that, the provider came highly recommended. I know that we are spinning up more servers, more backup servers, and everything. But we'll see. As we ramp it up, I'm sure they're going to ramp it up too. I mean, look at Facebook and the millions and billions of dollars they have, and they're still getting hacked. Remember on their birthday, their DNS servers got hacked. DNS basically effectively is the servers that route all the traffic to Facebook. Without the DNS, domain name servers. Those are the names where when you type in Patriot FB, that gets translated into an IP address, kind of like an address, but they're numbers. And those domain name servers are what translate those and then say go to these servers. Then when they go to those servers, obviously there's a bunch of servers behind them. So they got hacked. I mean, it's think about the billions of dollars those guys have. So we're doing everything possible to keep it, and I think we're doing a great job. I just want to, say that. I'm going to get Atomic out here. We're going to get them on the air to talk about their products and services. We're going to get probably someone from A2 on here, talk about their products and services. Because can't do it all. Can't do it all. But I do appreciate everybody's patience. I do appreciate, more importantly, it just makes me feel so better when I hear people say, I can't believe that you guys are back. Oh, I couldn't live without you. I will tell you after the show, join us. We have a 12-step program for all of you Facebook. Hi, my name is Jeff. I'm addicted to Facebook. We will be offering counseling. All the free coffee you want. Sponsors will be available. First, you have to admit yourself are powerless. There is no anonymity because the NSA already knows who you are, so I can't promise you that. But we have one single purpose here. That is to unhook you from the government-controlled mainstream media. Bring you to a real American Patriot-led media. And, we welcome everybody. I was talking with Tea Party, and, if you're a Tea Party member, if you're big into the Tea Party, get out there. Go out to the Tea Party Connection. They're huge. 100,000. Sean gave us great advice. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sean. Get out there, though. And everybody's like, what are you... Look, it's a big world. The more we get out there, the more we can get and be a part of. Now, one of the things, we are a non-denominational patriot movement here. That's our thing. We're non-denominational. We're not Tea Party. We're not libertarian. We're not conservative. We're not whatever. I mean, I'm a libertarian. That's me. You might not be. You might be GOP. You might be Tea Party. I don't know. You just might be an independent thinker all the way around. I don't know. And that's where Patriot FB, that's why this site is so powerful. So powerful. Because we don't cater to one belief system. All we know, if we were to write down and put it in a charter, is that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic in which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible. That's what we believe. We also give our loyalty and our fidelity to the organic Constitution of the United States. Not the contrived, created, manipulated, maligned Constitution in which they interjected the 14th Amendment, in which they took away our freedoms by making us, by adding these words, subject thereof. That's not the one that we subscribe to. And if you believe those two things, and if you believe in it, then you're at the right place, and God bless you. And welcome, my friends. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Patriot FB. Now, as we wind down tonight, we will always end our show and thus begin our new day, always remembering the men and women who have sacrificed so unselfishly. And part of that remembrance is that, you need to be aware. I know we have some new listeners, we have some old listeners. You need to be aware. There are 22 men and women who have served their country with honor and distinction, who will commit suicide tomorrow. There are 22 men and women who today have committed suicide. That's because they didn't get the services that they needed and that they deserved and that they earned. That's because as this administration was looking at pandering to voters and handing out free services and stuff, they were denying those to our men and women. You know that in the United States right now, on average, it's 354 days before a service member receives the benefits that they've earned and that they deserved, and this country owes them. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, this country doesn't owe anybody anything, but it owes our military, because that is the contract, that is the agreement, and that is the pact signed, sealed, and delivered by the blood of every soldier that has come before them and will come after them. And for us as a country to turn a blind eye, to wish away the men and women of this uniform, to cut their benefits as they increase their benefits to themselves, as they increase the benefits to other individuals who do not, and this is a powerful statement coming from me, do not contribute to society. We want you to contribute, but right now you don't. You are a drain. But that's for another topic, for another night. I just want to say that you will always have our support, our fidelity, and our honor and respect. As this government may try to diminish you in the eyes of its nation, we will never forget the sacrifices that you make on a daily basis and that you have made. And to your family members, we understand the pain and the suffering that you go through too as well. And for that, we will always honor and respect you. We will always hold you in the highest esteem in our society. And if we see you in public in your uniform, we will walk up to you, look you square in the eye, and shake your hand and say thank you. Because there is no replacement for an American soldier. None whatsoever. And for those who choose the honor of becoming a soldier and being called a soldier, God bless you and thank you. And for those who have paid the ultimate price for their service, we honor you. Army Private First Class Joshua A. Gray, February 10th, 2014.
in their boots. Turn your back on everything you know right now. With the whole world to lose, you got no dinner with the family. You got no home, no luxury car. Just a welcome to the battlefield, 'cause it's time to go to war. Because they do it for me and they do it for you. In the red, white, and blue. Amen to the ones on the battlefield. Amen to those who fall. Amen to the women and the children getting caught between it all. They said they fight and die for our freedom. No one had to ask them to go without a moment's hesitation. For the red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue. The red, white, and you. The red, white, and amen to the ones on the battlefield. Amen to those who fall. Amen to the women and the children getting caught between it all. They said they fight and die for our freedom. No one had to ask them to go without a moment's hesitation. For the red, white, and blue. Amen to the ones on the battlefield. Amen to those who fall. Amen to the women and the children getting caught between it all. They said they fight and die for our freedom. No one had to ask them to go without a moment's hesitation. For the red, white, and blue. Somebody's sister or brother, a mother, daughter, father, or son. Computer man says it's the end of time. December 31st, 1999. People buying up army surplus things, afraid of what the new year will bring. I live back in the woods, you see. Y2K don't mean a thing to me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive. A country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do, including Bocephus. We grow good old tomatoes and a homemade wine. Now country boy can survive. Country boys can survive. Country can't stop a sound and you can't make us run. We'll survive the new millennium. We say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. If the bank machines crash, we'll be just fine, 'cause a country boy can survive. Country boys can survive.
I had a good friend in New York City. Never called me Bocephus, called me Hillbilly. Really. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life.
how this dude's gonna get out.
It's about the restoration of